How's it going, everyone? Today I have probably the most modified custom Saab that I have ever seen, possibly maybe even one of the most custom ones on the planet. And it was listed for sale and someone happened to share it in our Facebook group. So I'm going to share that with you guys today because I saw it and I'm immediately like, I have to share this with everyone just because of how unique, how cool, and how awesome this build is. So what it is pretty much a Saab 96, I believe it's a 96 or 95, and it has been converted into a full-blown drag car. So let's go ahead and get into it here. Unfortunately, this isn't like the auction videos that I'll usually do when I'm like talking about cars for sale and we get to watch the exciting end to the auction, because this isn't an auction, it's just on Facebook Marketplace. And given the coolness of this car, that's really the only reason I'm filming it. Unfortunately, there's not a ton of pictures, there's not a ton of information in the ad, but it should still be fun. So it might not be the most informative video for you guys, but hopefully you all will be as intrigued by it as I was. So let's get into it. Here's the post right here. It was just shared in our group. I do want to say that this is also probably the most expensive Saab I have ever seen for sale. So this right here mentions $51,000, and I'm sure that there are probably at this point almost six figures, if not more, into this drag car. But this is the first photo right here, so you can see right off the bat, extremely custom to say the least, clearly set up for a drag car and nothing else. But let's go ahead and try and get some better pictures of the car. So there you can see right there, first I actually want to read through the description because it's pretty brief, and I figure it might provide some context to what we're looking at. So it is for sale in Utah. If it was local, I would totally go check it out and see if the owner wanted to make a video, but unfortunately that's quite a drive away from me. So 1965 Saab Custom has a blown 500 cubic inch Chevy engine, big block, full tube chassis, hand built from out of a small garage. Way too much to list, understandably so. So call with any questions you might have and I'll do my best to offer them. $54,000 or best offer. So I was considering calling this guy or texting him and asking for some more information, but considering I'm not a serious buyer and I'm really only contacting him for more information for this video, I didn't want to waste this time. So hopefully you guys can forgive me for that. But pretty much Saab with a huge Chevy drag motor in it. So forgive me because I don't know a ton about Chevy engines or drag engines and all that kind of stuff, but I did a little bit of research on 500 CI big block. Let me add big block in here because I'm sure that'll make a difference. And for whatever reason, my Chrome defaults to Microsoft Bing and not Google Chrome, so I apologize for that. It looks like these engines are extremely expensive, to say the least. These are all kind of different. None of them say 500 CI big block, but it's safe to assume that this engine alone is worth probably $10,000 to $20,000. So that's just crazy to think of. I mean, there's very few Saabs out there that are even worth $10,000 to $20,000. I don't want to talk more about the engine per se because I know that I'm going to be making a lot of assumptions and guessing on a lot of it, so forgive me for that. But if we go back to the car here, you can see paint job is pretty unique, custom. The first thing I really noticed is, obviously this car had a little tiny Ford V4 in it that was like 1.7 liters, I think, or just some tiny little engine. So to make that all fit, you can see that they clearly widened, or lengthened, I should say, the front fenders here and the entire front end of the car, and they did a very good job with it. If you didn't know what you were really looking at, you might say that was even factory. It looked like that. Obviously it widened too. Next photo here, pretty insane to look at this wing. I almost didn't see it at first because I think that's the parachute they probably have wrapped around it. But I mean, just looking at the size of this wing, it's got to be 6 feet in the air and, probably the entire length of the car. Unfortunately, there's not a better photo of it than that. But there you can see, you guys that really know motors and engines well can probably see a lot better what's going on here than me. But it's just crazy to look at and think the kind of custom work that went into a build like this. I mean, there's clearly nitrous and all this other crazy stuff going to it, and that's just really insane. I think it's super cool that someone chose a Saab for this build. I mean, who knows, maybe this was just sitting in someone's yard and the guy saw it and the guy who owned it was just like, hey, I want to get rid of this thing here, you can just have it, it doesn't run. And he's like, okay, and he took it and he's like, you know, I'm going to turn this into an insane drag car with a tube chassis and a huge Chevy engine. It would be cool to see times on this as well. Again, a lot that I don't know, and I apologize for that. But interior here, it's always cool to see the transmissions running right through here, and you can kind of see some of the tube chassis and all of that. Very minimalist to say the least. I think that this up here is what you use to pull the parachute, but that's just really, really cool to look at. And unfortunately, that's all the photos that are on this ad. I mean, even you can see the taillights at this point just look like, you know, they're not OEM Saab taillights. So even the shell itself, like you can tell this middle section of the shell is probably still factory. Yeah, at least it kind of looks like it is. And I mean, maybe even some of the back half, because when you look at the tires are, you know, very close together. It doesn't look like it was widened much in the back, but some of you will know that better than me. But I just think this thing is crazy how they kept it, you know, they didn't try to just get rid of the Saab thing, like they kept the Saab right here. And I just think it's a cool build. I feel like I'm a broken record at this point. So I don't know. This is one of those cars though that it's listed for sale, and clearly it's going to take, you know, you list the Turbo X for sale and you think that that might take a couple, you know, weeks or sometimes even months to sell because you really need to find the right buyer. But something like this would take I think this could take a year or more to sell, and maybe, I don't know what's going to end up happening to it, but it's just insane and crazy to think about it. One thing I see is it doesn't have wheelie bars, so that's interesting. I'm assuming it makes enough power to, and given how light it is, it makes enough power to probably put the back end in the air with how wide those tires are. Or put the front end in the air, excuse me, on a launch. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if this thing sells. I'll see if I can try and follow it and everything, but I'd love to provide more information if I could, but unfortunately I can't. So with that being said, guys, I know a little bit of a shorter, not super informative or, you know, video today, but I still thought it was cool to share this with everyone. So let me know your thoughts of this down below in the comments. Would you buy it if you had the money? If you're looking to build a drag car, would you consider using an old Saab like this and just do something crazy and unique? So thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.